Hi everyone, my name is Thomas Kim. Today is September 21st, 2019. This is my sixth episode about the C++ 20 standard concept. In this episode, we will learn more about unevaluated operand, requirements, and requires expression in depth. If you are new audience to my channel or to this series of videos, please double click this link. If you haven't watched my previous video of this series, C++20 standards concept, you probably cannot follow my current session and future videos. From this video, episode 5, we will make some changes from our previous source code, so please double click this link and download the complete source code. Also, if you are new audience to this series of videos, then double click this link. Please watch this video and make proper system environment variable settings. Otherwise, you cannot follow my current session and future episodes. And I will post this script in the description section below this video. By the time you watch this video, you can click this link to download the complete source code of this episode. Also, in this script, please double click this link and download this PDF file. Also, click this link and download the PDF files. In the Notepad++, create a new file. In this episode, pay special attention to constraint expression, simple requirement, type requirement, compound requirement, nested requirement, also requires expression, requires clause. Click this button, requirements.cpp. Go to settings, style configurator, C++, instruction word, concept, requires, select type word, constraint, expression, simple requirement, type requirement, compound requirement, nested requirement, requires expression, requires clause. Then click Save. From the downloaded file, open this PDF, Ctrl F, requires hyphen expression colon, hit enter. Then you can find this syntax parse tree. I will explain about this part shortly. Our template declaration is the root node of our recursive descent parse tree, and template head follows declaration, and I will not talk about this part. Template head concept definition. Template head start with keyword template, parameter list. This is optional. Then follows requires clause. This is optional too. Now concept definition start with keyword concept, then concept name follows equal constraint expression. So we have to pay special attention to constraint expression and requires clause. I will fix the type here. Concept name is simple. It is simply identifier. And constraint expression is simply logical or expression. And requires clause start with the keyword requires, constraint, logical or expression, constraint, logical or expression, is defined to be constraint, logical, and expression. So constraint logical OR expression follows OR operator, then follows constraint logical AND expression. Constraint logical AND expression is defined to be primary expression, and constraint logical AND expression follows AND operator, then primary expression. Primary expression can be literal, keyword this, expression, ID expression, lambda expression, fold expression, requires expression. So I said all these blue characters we need to pay special attention, and requires expression starts with keyword requires, requirement, parameter, list. This is optional. Requirement, body, requirement, parameter, list, parentheses, parameter, declaration, clause. This is optional. Requirement, body, start with curly brace, requirement, sequence, requirement, sequence, requirements, requirement, sequence can be left recursion. Now requirement can be simple requirement, type requirement, compound requirement, nested requirement. Now simple requirement is expression and follows semicolon here. Type requirement follows type name, nested name, specifier. This is optional and follows type name and follows semicolon. Compound requirement starts with a curly brace, then expression, curly brace, keyword no except. This is optional. Return type requirement. This is optional too. Then follows semicolon. Return type requirement, trailing, return type, then right arrow, CV, qualifier, sequence. This is optional. Constraint, parameter, CV, qualifier, sequence. This is also optional. Abstract, declarator. This is optional too. Trailing, return type, follows right arrow, type ID. So I will replace this part to here, then like this. We don't need a semicolon here because semicolon is specified here. Now nested requirement. Nested requirement starts with keyword requires, constraint, expression. I will scroll up. C++ 20 standard introduce unevaluated operand. What it means is that an unevaluated operand is not evaluated. but the validity of the syntax verified. So go to settings once again, style configurator, C++ typed words, unevaluated operand. Click save. Now scroll down. In the simple requirement, the expression should be unevaluated operand. I will fix like this. Also, the expression in the compound requirement block, this should be unevaluated operand. Now I will copy from here and scroll down up to this point. I copied and pasted it here. Now we will replace, since requirement parameter list is optional, I will delete this part because this is optional. So I will remove this part. I will substitute this block in the requirement body. So I will copy and paste it here. I substituted the requirement body. So I will delete this part. Now requirement sequence can be requirement. So I will substitute here and I will delete this part. Requirement can be nested requirement. So I will substitute nested requirement here. Then I will delete this part and also this part. Sorry, I just found I made a mistake. I scroll up. Please note that in the requirement body, requirement sequence contains requirement. Simple requirement should end with a semicolon. Type requirement should end with a semicolon. Compound requirement should end with a semicolon. Nested requirement should also end with a semicolon. So I should fix this part. Nested requirement should end with a semicolon. So in place of nested requirement in the requires expression block, I copy this nested requirement and paste it here. I paste it. Now save it. I will make demarcation here. Now scroll up. Scroll up. We started with a template declaration here. Declaration can have function, template, declaration, class, template, declaration. There can be more kind of declaration. We are interested in function template declaration. Now I will copy this part up to primary expression. I copied it and scroll down. I pasted it here. Now scroll up. Now let's think about the function template declaration. Function template declaration should start with the template header, and this declaration can follow function template declaration like this. Now template header can be this syntax. So I will paste it here it can be return type, for example, void function name, then function body, like this. Now template parameter list, type name, type, then we can put argument here, arg. Now let's think about require clause. Requires clause. Requires clause start with require logical constraint. I will copy and substitute here. So constraint logical OI expression. Constraint logical OI expression can be primary expression. Primary expression can be requires expression. So I will copy requires expression in place of constraint logical OI expression. Now requires expression, scroll up, can be requires constraint expression. I copy and I paste it here. This constraint expression is the same as this constraint expression. Now scroll down. This syntax is pretty ugly. Now I will delete the remaining part and save it from our previous episode, episode 5. Double click this link. If you haven't downloaded the source code, please double click this link to download from our previous video. Now in downloaded folder, unzip it, then this folder, copy the folder and paste it to your working directory. In this folder, start Visual Studio, go to File, Open, Project and Solution, open the project. Click OK. Then open the source file. From this source file, I will arrange with this. Please read the syntax here. So in our previous episode, I will disable this part and re-enable this part. Ctrl K, Ctrl U. I will delete this part. Please compare with this syntax, requires. I will also delete this part. So requires, then comes require once again, then comes constraint expression. Now I fixed like this. Now Ctrl F5. So our program works perfectly. So this syntax is pretty ugly. I hope you understand this syntax. Don't blame me. I haven't designed the C++ concept. Okay, I haven't designed it. It's not my fault. It's C++ committee's fault. Luckily, C++ committee provides us another syntax. In this file once again, so I will make demarcation here. I will copy this, paste it here. So here comes constraint, logical, OI expression, scroll up, constraint logical OI expression can be logical AND expression. Logical AND expression can be primary expression. Primary expression can be curly braced expression. Okay? Copy this and paste it here. Okay, this is another possible syntax. Using this syntax, I will arrange once again. Now we can apply this syntax. I will copy and Ctrl K, Ctrl C, I commented out and paste it here. Now we use parentheses and put this expression, cut and paste. Please note that in this expression there is no semicolon, so I have to remove the semicolon like this. Okay, then I can delete this part. Now Ctrl F5. It works exactly the same. I also use this syntax. This expression can be compile time expression. Compile time expression. Y is called constant expression. Also remember this syntax. In my next episode, we will learn more about requirement expression. Requirement expression starts with keyword require and has requirement body here. Requirement body is composed with curly brace and requirement sequence. Requirement sequence can be a simple requirement, type requirement, compound requirement, and nested requirement. Simple requirement has unevaluated operand, and also type requirement has this syntax, and compound requirement also has a block like this, and the unevaluated operand in compound requirement does not end with a semicolon. Okay? Unevaluated operand in the compound requirement does not end with a semicolon. Please keep this point in mind. And also follows nested requirement. We learned nested requirement in this episode. In my next episode, I will give you all 4 examples for requirements. I will upload complete source code to my website. By the time you watch this video, you can click this link and download the complete source code of this episode. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.